It literally took less than a day before the left and Democrats started blaming racism for the reason that Kamala Harris lost the election. First, we'll take a look at white-hating representative from Tennessee, Justin Jones.
Hey y'all, like many of you, I woke up this morning numb, unsettled, and honestly feeling despair about our nation. But I think, let this despair not lead us to hopelessness, but let it lead us to a point of repair. I think this is a recognition that this nation is broken, that it's sick, that anytime we've moved toward multiracial democracy, we've seen a backlash of white supremacy that is as bone deep as this nation's history.
Next, we hear from Maxine Waters, who probably has a legit reason for her hatred of white people, since she's old enough that she was probably actually a slave herself.
People don't like to talk about racism, but the fact of the matter is the majority of his votes are going to come from whites. And that's who has been talking to all campaign about taking the country back. Taking it back from whom? Taking it back from too many minorities who are doing too well, who are succeeding, who are closing the wealth gap. And something has to be done in his estimation. And so that's what it's really all about. It's not about the economy and all that, people would like to basically hide behind. It's about white versus others.
But it's looking possible tonight that Donald Trump has won the popular vote. Are you saying that the majority of Americans are racist?
I'm saying the majority of the Americans will buy into anything as long as they believe that somehow they will have more advantage, they will have more ownership.
It's time that we put that old racist hag out to pasture. And it's an absolute embarrassment that she won re-election. Next, we'll take a look at secret Donald Trump superfan Joy Reid. Remember when she used to wear that Donald Trump tribute wig? Well, she puts a wrinkle on things, and it's not just white people that are racist. It's also the Latino people that are racist.
And there is a huge element, to be honest, of anti-blackness in a lot of this. Anti-black Americanness specifically. And Paola and I have talked about this, that there is a part of that anti-blackness is a piece of it. Even though Enrique Tarrio, who's the head of the Proud Boys, is a black Latino, but he's down with white supremacists. Down with them. And there's this idea that I'm black, but I'm not black. I may look black to you. I may be black if I'm walking through Bloomingdale's and get followed around. But in my mind, I'm identifying with whiteness because whiteness means privilege and it means not being a black American. This has to be unpacked because this shift among Latino men is significant. And it says something about where we're going in this country, about whether we can create an appeal. There's also, the last thing I will throw in is the creation of the idea that everything that Vice President Harris was proposing is communism. That is a potent argument for a lot of Latinos.
And let's not forget to blame misogyny.
Really quickly, too. Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. The Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic. And we've got to have real honest conversations about it.
Honest conversations.
Joe Scarborough and Al Sharpton. Are there two better examples of people that are human trash? Then when we check on the brain dead ladies at The View, they're going to add another category to the list. So you'll have white people, Latino people, and women are too stupid to vote for their reasoning for Kamala Harris's loss.
I want to dig further into the demographics because black women tried to save this country again last night. 92% of black women voted for the vice president. You have Latinas in the 70 percentile voting for the vice president. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms? And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
We have to look at the demographics of it.
So to recap, Kamala Harris lost because white people are racist and Hispanics are racist, even though we did just have a black president 8 years ago serve 2 terms. And white people must have voted for him, considering that we're 2/3 of the population. But also, she lost because of misogyny and because women are too stupid to know who to vote for. Well, believe me, they're just getting started with their list of reasons. And eventually we'll get to the point where black people are also racist, but against other black people.